Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 3rd December 2020. We have many interesting articles on our table today, but before that, if you are preparing for UPSC Prelims 2021, then we have launched a test series. The price of this test series at present is 3,000 rupees only. You will get 40 tests in total. This offer is valid till 14th December only. To purchase this test series for 3,000 rupees, all you have to do is use this code. To find out more about it, visit testiq.in. I have already shared the PDF of today's lecture on my Telegram channel. You can get it from there. You can follow me on Facebook as well. And dear friends, don't forget to hit the like button. If you believe you have learned something from today's discussion, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So today the first topic that we are going to discuss is this one: behind China's wolf warrior diplomacy. Now it is very important for you guys to understand that what is actually this wolf warrior diplomacy. I still remember that when our country was under this lockdown, at that point of time, this wolf warrior diplomacy was trending on Twitter. And I'm sure you have heard about this term, wolf warrior diplomacy, many times. So let me explain it to you what exactly is a wolf warrior diplomacy. Now see, at present, we know this current situation or current status of China. China is a very powerful country, isn't it? Has it been always powerful? No. When China was a poor country, when China started, or before China started this path of power, or I would say before it started treading on this path, or before it started its reforms, the leaders of China, they used to believe this thing, and they have said this thing that this is not the time for us to fight with other people. This is not the right time. What we need to do is, at present, we need to focus on our progress. If you have any problem, if any country tries to create problem with you, then just ignore that country. If you have to say, then just to say sorry and carry on. A day will come when you will realize that you are a powerful country, and from that point of time, or you can say from that point, your time will start. So I can safely say that China has reached there. China at present is a very powerful country. China sees itself as equivalent to USA. And USA can also feel this heat, and the world can feel this heat of China. So there was a time when Chinese diplomacy was conservative, it was passive, it was low-key. At present it is more assertive, proactive and high-profile. That's what wolf warrior diplomacy is all about. So it's more about having a very aggressive, but I would say very assertive, very proactive, very high-profile diplomacy. That's wolf warrior diplomacy. I hope things are clear to you. Now, the reason why I took you through this background is because if you observe the world, if you observe geopolitics and relations, then you will find that nationalism is a theme that is expanding all over the world. You see in our country as well, nationalism. Then you see this Mr. Trump. You see so many countries in Africa, so many countries in Middle East, so many countries in Europe, right? They have this nationalism or nationalist government, and here nationalism is not bad, but when it is not bad, but when it is too much, when it is like very aggressive, very very assertive nationalism, that our country is the best, we are the best, and we need to make whatever we do is the best, and other countries are inferior to us. This sort of nationalism is not healthy for the world. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping, his tenure or his way of operating is a very abrasive brand of nationalism. A very rough or very aggressive nationalism. That's what we find in China. So wolf warrior diplomacy, it has been a work in progress for much longer and involves a state-sponsored and systemic indoctrination campaign. So psychological level, from psychological level to physical thing, from your diplomacy, everything. At present it looks like everything is designed by this party called Chinese Communist Party, CCP. And the main leader is Xi Jinping, of course. So how these leaders, how they achieve this thing? They create this wave. They are master manipulators, or they have master. Their expertise is creating. They are like farmers. They will plant a seed in your head, and that seed will develop into a small, maybe a small shoot, or maybe a tree. It all depends how they are nurturing. So I'll give you one example, right? Like how human beings can be influenced. Like media. See the role of media. During this COVID-19 lockdown, right, the whole world started believing in this thing. And so many politicians, so many powerful people as well, they thought that lockdown is the best thing, right? And just remember the days of lockdown. We were so afraid that so many people were not even opening their window. They thought like virus will enter from their window. So many people never stepped out of their home. They were not even available in their garden. They used to stay indoors only. No outdoor at all. Not stepping out of their front door. Not even in their garden. So why we used to behave like that? Because we were afraid, and this fear was derived from outside, right? Someone else created this fear in us, and then we took it as a reality. And see, today coronavirus is still there, but people are going out. We are just wearing a mask. Sensible people are wearing mask, and we are going out. See the difference? I hope you got the meaning, right? What I'm trying to tell you here. So what this Chinese Communist Party did, it created this imaginary, it created this big dream, China dream, that we used to be this powerful country, we used to be, golden dragon or things like that. They created this whole imaginary thing, and then they started training people. Education, right? Patriotic education campaign started in 1990s. Century of humiliation was invented. Century of humiliation means that our country was always, ruined by other people, and there are so many countries and so many powerful nations. We are very good people, but these people, they came here and they destroyed our way of living. They took money from us, and they have always troubled us, but not anymore. We have a savior. We have a leader called Mr. Xi Jinping. He is here, and his party is here, and he's our leader. He is the main navigator. He will navigate us out of this humiliation, and now this is the time that the world will know that we are the most powerful country and things like that. So this whole story, works, and this is working as well. And fear is used. Fear is a very powerful thing. What they do is so many so-called religious groups, so-called this sort of people, they use this fear, they generate this fear that if you don't protect yourself, if you don't work with us, then this community will destroy you. This community is, the main purpose of this community, or the main mission, is to destroy you. And they create this thing in you so much deep down that you start believing that yes, they create this perception in you, this illusion that this community is going to destroy you. So for that, you need to destroy that community. So this fear that someone is going to hit you will act like a glue. So the whole community will stick with each other. In the same way, when you create fear in people, that like we have threats from outside, imaginary enemy is going to come and ruin us. When you can create this imaginary enemy, then people will say that there is only one savior, there is only one person who can do this thing, and that is Xi Jinping. There is only one party that can do good for our country, and that is Chinese Communist Party. And you can say reasonably, they are successful. They are at present they are fighting corruption, and their main purpose is they have achieved today. Xi Jinping is powerful because today's generation is with Xi Jinping or supporting Xi Jinping. But he's not going to stay limited with that. He's also creating this red DNA. He's also, making sure that the next generation will also follow his ideas. And he's considered as Fandui Fubai. Fandui Fubai means a person who is opposed to corruption. And people believe that he is Xi Jinping. In 2080, the party launched a patriotic striving spirit. So this is like brainwashing, or you can say enhancing patriotism among Chinese intellectuals. When you see, intellectuals are people, they can influence so many people, So if you can have intellectuals on your side, then that undercurrent will be with you. They've started this Xi Jinping Thought Study Center to guide the theoretical construction of China's foreign policy as well. So everywhere you can see, at psychological level, national level, everywhere this party, this ideology is taking over, and this is a very aggressive nationalism. So this is what is driving China. Moving on to next one, castes count. I'm going to share one interesting perspective with you guys as far as this topic is concerned. Now, Tamil Nadu government's decision to establish a commission to collect caste-wise data. There is a political party in Tamil Nadu, Patali Makal Kachi, PMK, has demanded 20% exclusive reservation in education and government jobs for Vaniyar community, its main electoral base. Now, this Vaniyars, they did this violent, agitation in 87-88, and they are part of this most backward classes, and they are part of these communities who enjoy 20% reservation in Tamil Nadu. Now, this PMK is saying that their main demand is that we are part of this. We are part of this 20% reservation, but there are other castes as well. What we need exclusive reservation, 20% exclusive reservation. So just imagine, like, so many other castes are going to demand the same thing in various different parts of our country. And I don't think so this is possible as well. Now, Supreme Court has been asking states to produce quantifiable data to justify their levels of reservation, and it would help Tamil Nadu to retain its 69% total reservation. Supreme Court has asked these states that you need to bring some data so that we can justify. There should be a logic behind. If you are demanding or if you are creating reservations, then there should be some sort of data backing that thing. Now, this is the most important part, right? Why we find so many castes, so many communities like Gujars, Jats, Patidars, Vaniyars, and there are so many others as well. Why they ask for this? Why reservation is considered as a sort of prospects of advancement to exclusive? Why they want reservation for their kids? Why they are demanding reservation? See, one of the main reason, the core reason, is jobs. And to be more precise, it is formal jobs or formal job. Now, I'm sure I don't have to say more about a formal job. There is a difference between a formal and an informal job, organized and unorganized sector. Now, interesting fact is that in our country, somewhere around 6 to 7% people, all those people who are doing a job, out of that 6 to 7% people, right? They are the ones, like 6 to 7%, they are in formal sector. They have formal or they work for organized sector. And government jobs are part of this 6 to 7%. Rest of them are informal and unorganized. So, the clear benefit, if you work for, let's say if you are working in a formal job, maybe government or private sector, then you know that you will get health insurance, you will get your holidays, your working hours are fixed. There's so many things, right? So these are the benefits of formal jobs. Informal jobs, hire and fire. You hire today, tomorrow you can say goodbye, we don't need you, and things like that. So this thing does not take place in formal jobs. It's not easy to get rid of someone in formal job, right? Even if you're working for a big company, then they will have to give you 1 month's notice. They cannot just tell you from tomorrow that you cannot work for us. That's how it works. So dear friends, see, the thing is, because more means we don't find that many formal jobs in private sector, and we know the benefits that you get in government jobs, right? If no one can, if you just appear on your job, even if you don't perform, then you will get your salary. So people are directly, indirectly seeking a sort of secure income. They should know like they will get this much at least. That's the main reason why various different communities are demanding this reservation in jobs particularly, or they are demanding for this general reservation so that they can get education reservation as well as job reservation. So for that, what we need to do is we need to create more jobs, more private jobs, more formal jobs. That's the only answer. Government cannot provide job to each and every person of our country. The only way out is create more factories, more services, more things so that more formal jobs can be generated. You see, there are so many countries around the world where you have formal jobs, right? You don't find any difference if you're working for government or if you're working in a private company. It doesn't matter. And there are so many countries, you will be surprised to know that for a few years people will work for the government, and then later on they will change, or it's other way around as well. They work for a private company for a few years, and then when they get some experience, if they find a good job with government, then they will switch career. They will not switch career, but switch their employer. They will leave private company and join government services. Maybe after a few years they leave government service and then join private. So this is very common in so many countries. Here, you have this, once you get a government job, then that's forever. This sort of thing is not healthy for our system. We need to, in today's world, you need people who can perform should be part of government job. It's not a place where you get this, fixed source of income. So this is the main root cause thing here. Now, Tamil Nadu government is going to create this commission, and this commission is, see, the thing is, the commission may not conduct an elaborate enumeration on the lines of the centers, decennial census. Every 10 years when, central government creates the census, it's not going to be that elaborate. It's not going to be that deep. The most important thing is that we need to have data. Data is important thing so that you know exactly which particular caste what is the status of that particular caste. But we have to keep this thing in mind that caste is also a form of discrimination, right? There was a time when it was more like, for division of work. But at present it is, of course, a sort of a form of discrimination. So whatever we do, government should seek to rationalize and deepen its social justice policy with a true assessment of the backwardness of various castes, and after all, progress towards a casteless and equal society ought to remain the state's ultimate goal. This should be ultimate goal. But unfortunately, what we find is that all these things are done to woo voters, right? It's all seen as a number game, sadly. Hard bargains and the art of policy making. Very, very interesting, very, very important article. They can ask you this question, that why we find so many protests going on in various different parts of our country. Protest is something that is very frequent, very intense, and very common thing. It's becoming a very common thing. What is the reason behind it? We are going to find one interesting point behind this agitations that we find, frequent agitations that we find in various different parts of our country. At present, farmers' agitation is going on. You know the reason behind it? The main reason behind it is that government is not having a thorough discussion on a particular policy. If you want to create a proper law and policy, if you want to create a law and policy that is near to perfect, I'm not sure whether we have any sort of, or any anywhere in the world you can have a perfect 100% perfect policy or law, but I would say that something that is 99.99 or something that is 99% plus perfect, it's as close to perfect as possible. If we have something like that, we should strive to design policies and laws that are as near to perfection as possible. And for that, you need discussion. You need to bring on stakeholders. You need to make those people who will get affected by your law and policy, you need to make them a partner in decision making process. That will take time. It looks time consuming, but in long run this is the most healthy way of doing things. Now in our country we have parliament, and parliament is one of the most important forum for this discussion. Parliament has this well-established process to get inputs of experts and stakeholders and to build cross-party consensus while enacting a law. Committees, right? Expert committees, consultative groups. You can have a thorough discussion. You can bring on experts and stakeholders and everyone, and you can have your MPs and they can, have a thorough discussion. And the good thing is that this sort of committees or expert groups, right? Whatever they discuss, whatever they do, no one is going to watch them. So when I say no one, I mean to say that people are not going to watch them when they are having their discussion. So they don't have this pressure of posturing for the public. Whatever they will do it. You will find all people, right, from various different political parties. So here I think we find true democracy, that you are coming from various different parties, but then your main focus is to improve a particular, whatever the subject is, you will work on it and you will try to make it as pure as possible. The best example that we have is a GST. If you go through this particular article that we are discussing today, you will find there are so many points, but I will take you through, very briefly, I will take you through GST. Right now, I'm sure you know so many things about GST that I don't have to repeat all these things that we find in today's article, but basically GST process started maybe 13-14 years ago. There was a demand of GST for a very long period of time, but an empowered group of state finance ministers was set up back in 2007. And then the bill was introduced in 2011 to amend the constitution. So there were so many issues with GST. The thing is that it's not just enough that you pass it from your parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Something that you want to do with this tax, or if you want to change something with judiciary, then what you need to do is you need to pass it. You need green signal from 50% states as well. So legislative assembly of 50% states. Let's say if we have total 29 states, then out of 29 states, let's say you need 15 states. Their state assembly should pass this bill. Then only you can introduce this GST, or if you want to make some changes with judiciary and things. But then as well, like if 50%, if let's say 15 states have given their green signal, then rest of the states as well, you need to bring them on board. Because if they will not implement GST, then you won't be able to operate GST. Even if one state will not operate or implement GST, then as well it will become a big problem, isn't it? So this consultation empowered group of state finance ministers and other level as well, experts were discussing with each other, and later on they talked about this GST council and how we are going to vote. And so the bottom line is that with this level of consultation, with this level of discussion, right, we were able to introduce GST. This process highlights the importance of building a broad consensus before making a major policy or legislative change. A standing committee and select committee provided fora for parliamentarians to engage with experts and stakeholders, which helped them recommend changes that would lead to a broadly acceptable bill. The problem with the current farm law is that there are so many good points in current farm law, but the problem is that there was no discussion. The bills were initially enacted through ordinances. So it was like executive decision. And when parliament process was going on, very quickly it was passed in Lok Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha it was passed by a voice vote. And this is the main reason. Because government was not inclined to have a thorough discussion on farm laws, And you know that in our country, 50% plus population is engaged with agriculture. So it's a very important, it's a policy or a law that will impact, roughly speaking, 50% people of our country. And you are not, you are passing it using ordinance and then very quickly passing from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and you're introduced. So this sort of force, this sort of arrogance, I would say, will not work. The reason I'm saying arrogance is because if you and I can understand that this particular laws are going to, even though laws are good, even though if the laws are good, now you see in today's news items, you will find that government is, from last few days, government is saying that we are ready to talk with farmer. But just imagine if you have had this thorough discussion before, earlier on, before passing these bills. If you have created a proper policy, then, things would be different. We are wasting our time. What we are doing is now we are like trying to repair things reactively rather than proactively. So we need to learn an important lesson from this episode. Stable policy making needs a broad agreement on benefits of the policy. Such consensus has to be built through conversations with stakeholders. So discussion is the key. Last topic, a looming health crisis. Now we know coronavirus is a big pandemic, but there is a silent pandemic, that is AMR. A few days ago as well, we were talking about AMR, and globally about 35% of common human infections have become resistant to available medicines. Every year, 7 lakh people die because of AMR. In India, 58,000 newborn babies that die because of this AMR. They die from sepsis in India alone because antibiotics can no longer treat certain bacterial infections. In India, India is one of the largest consumer of antibiotics in the world, and this is a serious problem for us. Can you believe this thing that up to 80% of antibiotic drugs that we take is not digested, or it will not be consumed, or you can say that these things are excreted, unmetabolized, and then it enters the environment. The release in effluents from households, health and pharmaceutical facilities and agricultural runoff. Everything will eventually, become part of environment. And when we talk about our water capacity, right, we have this capacity to treat only 37% of sewage generated annually. So the rest of the water bodies, right, will have untreated water. And see this shocking fact here, that an analysis of single wastewater discharge from a treatment facility in India catering to drug manufacturers found concentration of antibiotics high enough to treat over 40,000 people daily. Then animals, wildlife comes into their contact and they also become part of it. And to end this thing, this is getting bigger and bigger. This is a silent, pandemic that is going on. It's getting bigger and bigger. So UN agencies are working together to develop this One Health AMR global action plan. In our country, what we have done, Ministry of Environment and Forest has set limits for residues of 121 antibiotics in treated effluents from drug production units. This standards wait finalization, and in July this year, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Ministry of Forest constituted the Interministerial Steering Committee on Environment and Health with representation from WHO and UNEP. So this is a serious thing, it is getting bigger and bigger. We need to stop it now. AMR is a very important topic, right? A few days ago as well, we have talked about it. This article is also interesting. We have discussed some facts here, so I want you guys to download the PDF and go through it once again. Create a note or something, revise it, because I believe they can ask you a question. Because of this pandemic and everything, they can ask you one question in your mains examination based on this. So very important topic if you ask me. And these are a few news items. Download the PDF and go through it. If you are preparing for UPSC Civil Services Examination, dear friends, then we have a dedicated smart course that will help you with your prelims and mains examination. To find out more about it, download our mobile application. I'll see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.